Hi, I'm Gary. Today I'm looking at the kit of the Bell AH-1G Cobra helicopter in 1/48 scale from ICM. Now, if you liked the video, please remember to give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below, hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel. It's free and a great way to show your support. Let's start with a look at the box. So here's the box of the lovely AH-1G Cobra and the M8A1 landing mat from ICM. As you can see here, it's a limited edition, also say there, and the scale is 1/48 and the product code is 48298. Beautiful bit of box art with it hovering actually over a bit of landing mat, which is quite cool. On this side we have here information box that says it's the AH-1G with the landing mat, various versions, weapons, so on and so forth. Decals for 4 AH-1Gs, limited edition, only 1,000 of these kits have been sold or will be available, and when it's complete, the AH-1G will take 169 parts and 295 millimeters in length, which is pretty cool. The landing mat is 64 parts, so it's quite a lot of bits, and the landing mat will be 245 by 153 millimeters. On the other long side are the pictures of the 4 different versions, the 4 different decals that are around. One in Vin on 1970, again 1970, same place. Like in summer 1970 and Pleiku in autumn 1972. Okay, that's all very nice, but let's see what we get inside the box for our money. Right, our first job is to get the lid off. These just can be a little bit stiff, a little bit tight, but they are full colour art lids, very nicely produced, but they conceal a very, very sturdy inner box. I've done a lot of ICM reviews and it never ceases to amaze me how they can do this, and pretty much no other manufacturer, no major manufacturer I've used can do this sort of box. It's astonishing. Anyway, inside we have one bag full of parts for the AH-1. We have a bag full of parts for the M8 matting. We have the instruction sheet for the AH-1 with some decals as well, and also in there we have the instruction sheet for how to put together the matting. It's actually a single sheet of paper, a bit tricky, there we go. So it's just a single sheet of paper for this, full colour brochure for this, and the decal sheet of course. Now we'll look at all these different bits in a bit more detail. So frame A has the 2 halves of the fuselage. This is the base of the fuselage that fits in here. Obviously the main rotor blade, the only rotor blade really. There's a tail one as well, but you know what I mean. Some other bits and pieces, tail fins, whatever, and other little sort of bits and pieces down here. But the main point, the 2 halves of the fuselage. Frame B are the gun turrets, chin turret designs, landing skids, and I guess this is the exhaust for the jet that runs the rotors. Frame C does sort of general small bits and pieces. I guess this might be the main shaft for the rotor. The rest are bits and pieces here and there. Frame D has the tail fin, some air inlets to the tail rotor, the instrument panels in here, front and back, and other smaller bits and pieces, aerials and so on. Frame E has the cockpit hub, seats, front combing for the instruments, the rear of the cabin, and the seats for the pilot crew, other bits and pieces as well. Bits of armour, I suspect these are. Frame G appears to be a 7-barreled rocket pod on each side. At least some components for it anyway. The odd thing I've noticed also, by the way, is that this plastic is different to this plastic, which most of the kit's in this darker grey plastic. A few frames like this are in this paler plastic, which is quite strange. There's also a frame F, slightly out of out of order, and there's a multi-barrel gun, I guess a minigun. I don't know, it might be an M61, but I don't know. Bit of a short barrel for an M61. Side pods, things like that. Then there's frames I and J, which are more weapons. This is another 7-barrel rocket pack. These are presumably miniguns. This is frame H, which has a load of multiple rocket launch pods. And this is frame N for November. I think these are probably the things you can attach to move the helicopter around without actually starting it up and hovering it, because it's on skids, of course, so you can put them up on this little carriage, this little of wheels, and move it around the airfield. This is frame P, and it contains, as you can see, loads of transparent parts. One part has actually already fallen off the frame. I'm not sure whether this is one that we need or not. There's, as well as obviously the windows and the top glazing and things like that, there's some gun sights and lights and bits and pieces like that there as well. Having a look at the plastic here, it is very nicely moulded, very crisp, very clean. I can't see any major bits of flash that are noticeable. The riveting is quite bold, but 1/48th, it'll work okay. I think sometimes they need to be a bit bolder at 1/48th and then say at 1/35th, purely so you can actually see it cleanly. The plating on the rotor hub discs is very, very nice. That sort of scalloping of the load plates is very clean. The end, don't assume that this bit here is flash, because it isn't. That's actually pop molded in, which is again quite a nice indication of how accurate the mold is, that they do things like that. There's some very small teeny tiny parts here that are all in place, all very nice and sharp. And then if we have a look on the inside, we can see here specialhobby.eu to confirm these are special hobby parts made by Special Hobby. But they're nice, they're lovely. You know what, they're absolutely lovely and sharp, so I'm not going to complain because of that, that's for sure. One thing I do like are the instrument panels, because there's just enough sort of relief on them to be able to dry brush if you want to paint in your own detail, which you can do, obviously. But it's also not too much relief that the decal from the kit won't stick to it. The decals on ICM kits are very thin, so they do stick nicely to any sort of gentle relief like this. I think they could look really, really good. Whether or not I get a new set for them is another matter, of course, but there we go. The tail pieces, again, with that riveting, nice sort of no flush riveting on the back end of this thing. It's all dome riveted. And again, some very, very, very delicate parts again. I'll put the pencil, you can see this is like a 0.5 millimeter wide probe here. Very, very good. The decal sheet is actually pretty crowded, but not badly so. It just seems very, very crowded. Not sure how well laid it out it is. Anyway, you do have the instrument panels, front and rear. You have lots of stencils that are common, and then you have all the individual markings kind of in this area here. From first glance, the colours look okay, but we'll have a closer look and check on those in a moment. Okay, having a closer look now at the decal sheet. Here's our put the pencil out, so before I say that. Pencil bit, there we go, it's a 0.5 millimeter pencil lead here, so these are pretty fine details on here. The white's slightly getting lost, but it's okay, it's not too bad, it'll do okay. The yellow prints are a bit anemic. Maybe that'll show up better on the green when it's on the model, I'm not sure, but it still looks a bit weak. The blacks look nice and sharp enough. Should be able to read pretty much most of this. Not that you actually need to, but if you can, it gives it a bit more sense of realism. The aircraft number plates and stuff like that. All of the markings here, these are all, I think these are 4-color print, so they're not absolutely crystal clean as, for example, Cartograph would be, or something like that, who do individual color screen printing, but they're pretty darn good. These are actually better than most of the ICM decals I've seen of late, I have to say. So yeah, they're pretty good. Shark's mouth looks good. Yes, flag looks okay to me. This is 1/48 as well, so you're going to be standing and looking from a distance, and where you notice it is things like this. Were this a cartograph, that would be absolutely crisp and crystal clean, that white. It's there, but it's not absolutely sharp with the ICM ones. But you know what? As I say, when it goes on a 1/48 kit on your shelf, you're not going to notice the difference. Instructions are, the front page is very normal ICM fare. Reprise of the box art, title, scale 1/48, and the kit reference 48298. On this side, there's a history of the AH-1G Cobra in Ukrainian and in English, and then some technical specs of the vehicle in Ukrainian and in English. There are color callouts here for the models. They reference ICM color codes. You can go onto the ICM website and they'll translate these into various popular brands references as well. There are some icons here and they tell you what they are, again in Ukrainian and in English, and a QR code link there to subscribe to the ICM channel. First thing we come across are the frame maps. Of course, there's going to be bits on here that aren't going to be used because this is a multi-version kit at the end of the day. A lot of the glazing doesn't get used, for example. Then on the inside, we have the instruction sheet. Now, interestingly, the instructions here look very much like ICM instructions, even though this is a special hobby kit. So I don't know whether they collaborated to get the instructions looking the same, or whether Special Hobby gave ICM various bits of drawings or whatever to create these. I don't know. I don't know how they went around it, but these look very, very much like regular ICM instructions, which is cool. If you're used to doing them, then they'll be very familiar to you. There's a couple of bits here you have to drill out for a couple of the variants. And there's nothing like crazy complex in here. Obviously the cockpit area is the most complex bit. The rest is all very nicely done, but not complicated. The 1/35 is a very, very, very different thing, let me tell you. So the big gun on the outside, if you want it as well, which is really cool. It looks great. I don't know how good it is actually in practice, but it looks really cool. Yeah, most of these parts are very familiar looking from having built the 1/35, so I don't know, all seems to go together pretty well. The benefit, of course, is you have got a lot of aftermarket available already, as the kit's a couple of years old from Special Hobby. So if you want to have the windows open, for example, you can have a really detailed cockpit set for it. And yes, indeed, here are the little wheels for moving it around if you want to. There's mask cutouts here, templates for mask cutouts, should you wish to do that. Of course, as I say, there are already aftermarket sets, but if you want to do that, then you can. The weapons go together in this way, and then weapon options that are suitable for the different variants are on here. And then the different variants themselves on colours here. This is the first one of Hulk Company, or no, sorry, the aircraft is called Hulk. D Company 227th Airborne Armoured Helicopter Brigade, Attack Helicopter Brigade, I'm going to pretend that is. 1st Cavalry Division in 1970. I don't know much about American formations, so I'm afraid. Gun pods here for Sindian, 1st Squadron, 9th Cavalry. I love this sort of the orange undersides to the well, actually top and bottom to the rear stabilizers. I like that a lot. Vehicle here, D Company, 227th HB, 1st Cavalry Division. And then on the back is, along with the shark's mouth here, is H Troop of 10th Cavalry in 1972, again with lots of options for the weapons. So, quite a lot in there. That's your instructions. There it is. It's surprising in a way that it's a rebox of the special hobby kit rather than a downsized version of their own very fine 1/35th scale kit, but it looks good nonetheless. Remember, if you've enjoyed the show, please do give it the Imperial thumbs up on the like button below, hit the notification bell and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching and goodbye.